God is so good to us. According to the Diocese of Cubao Media, we are the 3 in first in the Diocese of Cubao. Sabi nga po ni Bishop, the first band of affinity in Santa Maria Maggiore, the first church in the Diocese of Cubao with perpetual plenary indulgence, and the first church who attained the privilege and status of a minor basilica.
Today is indeed a historical moment, not only for this church, but for the whole Diocese of Cubao as well. We thank God for gathering us together as we solemnly declare the National Shrine of Our Lady of Mount Carmel as a minor basilica. Our diocese is blessed with the presence of 3 national shrines: the National Shrine of Our Lady of the Rosary of La Naval, the National Shrine of Our Lady of Lourdes, and the National Shrine of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Today, the Diocese of Cubao is blessed even more because we now have this church as our first minor basilica. In ancient times, a basilica originally referred to the tribunal chamber of a king. In ancient Rome, it was a public building where official and public functions were held. As the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, the church assembly was moved from the house church to the basilica. In Rome, there are 4 major basilicas, which are considered the highest ranking church buildings. Today, this church is bestowed the title Minor Basilica by the Holy See. I find it significant that this momentous event is celebrated on the solemnity of the Annunciation of the Lord. Today, the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. What is this flesh? This body that He took from Mary. It is the new temple of God. It is the place of encounter between God and man. We who enter this basilica should always see this place as a symbol of the sacred humanity of Christ, in which dwells the fullness of the divinity. When we enter this basilica, we encounter God and enter into communion with Him. Here, we repeatedly encounter the mystery of the Incarnation, most especially in the offering of the sacrifice of the Mass. In the Eucharist, the Spirit makes it possible for the Son of God to take flesh on the altar. The bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ. When we enter this basilica, we are reminded of the fact that we enter into communion with God through our communion with Christ. Here, the Incarnation takes place in a real way. We encounter for ourselves what St. John tells us in the Holy Gospel. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. A minor basilica in our midst is literally an edifice for the poor. I say this because those who enter this basilica will receive the same benefits, the same graces that are received by those who go in pilgrimage to Rome. The special affinity of this church to Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome brings, in a way, the eternal city to us. Not all of us can afford to go to Rome. Therefore, through this Basilica, Rome comes to us. Basilica must be marked not only by the excellence of its liturgy and devotions. The Basilica must also show excellence in its charity. Remember that plenary indulgences are bestowed in this place. This gives us all the more reason to excel in charity, because the Apostle Peter says, charity covers a multitude of sins. Let worship befitting God be constantly offered here. Let communion be our way of life here. Communion with the Blessed Trinity, communion with the Holy See, communion with the Diocese, and communion with the poor. In this Basilica, we not only pray to Mary, but we pray with Mary. May Mary, the flower of Carmel, constantly make her motherly solicitude be experienced by all who entered here. Let us be at the service of others and bring Christ to them. So the presence of the Church of a Basilica is a strong confirmation that we are never alone. God is with us.